Welcome to Glowing Success. My name is Heidi and I am your host. This podcast is for beauty entrepreneurs. Join me weekly as we dive into the beauty industry's ins and outs, from business strategies, top-selling services, and taboo topics. I will be interviewing industry leaders with empowering stories and game-changing insights. Let's illuminate your path to success together. Let's jump into this next episode. Welcome back to Glowing Success. Today, we're going to be talking everything about legal matters. So if you are interested in anything has to do with legal, this is the episode for you. I am going to be speaking with Pam. She is a Legal Shield associate. So Legal Shield, it really is all about protection for your family, business, and personal identity. Welcome to the podcast, Pam.
Thank you so much, Heidi. I appreciate the opportunity to share with your followers what it is we do across North America.
Yes, it's so much fun. You know, I have personal experience with Legal Shield, but if anybody doesn't know about Legal Shield or you yourself, can you go into a little bit of detail about yourself just so people can get to know you?
Certainly. I began my career, so I've been involved with Legal Shield about 10 plus years. But I'd like to share how I arrived there. So I started as a CPA in public accounting a number of years ago, and then was in the energy industry in the financial space, and then chose to stay home with kids and raised a family of 6 children and homeschooling. And then life happened, as it does sometimes. And I found myself in the middle of a legal mess. And someone introduced me to Legal Shield, and I had never heard of it. And I thought, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And for me at that time as a single mom, I thought, wow, this is incredible peace of mind. And that's what brought me into the business. And I haven't stopped proclaiming our mission and what we're doing across America since.
That's amazing. I love that you shared that it really did start from a personal level, because I think that's kind of true across the board for a lot of things in life, right? Like whether it be starting a business or how we fall upon like how to find your hairstyles or how to find your nail tech. A lot of times it starts with that personal story. And so I think that's amazing. And you had mentioned, we had talked before this recording today, you had mentioned that, you know, one of your first clients when you first started was a hairstylist, right? Like, that's amazing. Yes. That's so cool.
I didn't really think about it until we were chatting, and being analytical, I thought, okay, how do I share the story of Legal Shield? And so my first sale was actually to my hairstylist, and I was just chatting with her. You know, I started this new thing. Here's what we do. And she said, you know what? I'm really interested. I have some rental property. I have some things going on. Tell me more. And so to this day, she still owns a legal plan for herself and her business.
I love that. And, you know, I always tell people when it comes to marketing, it really is about those conversations, right? It's about those tiny conversations that really add up to be big things. And so I think that's kind of cool. Well, I wanted to start this episode with breaking some myths, right? Because I think across the board, it doesn't matter if you're in the beauty industry or not, one of the myths that I fall upon is it's very expensive to hire an attorney. And, you know, I shouldn't even say this is a myth because it can be. So that is true sometimes. So I will say that's not necessarily a myth, but I'm using that as a myth right now because it's not expensive when it comes to having a membership with Legal Shield. It makes it very affordable, actually. And there's so many things that I've benefited from. So I will say, like, I have a personal membership with Legal Shield. My husband has a business membership, and actually I really should start my business membership. And I know we've talked about that. I've just been, life has been flying by me at 100 miles an hour lately. And it's been on my mind because I have a lot of things coming up that I need this, you know, this membership really helps me a lot. So let's kind of dive into some of the things that actually the beauty professionals would benefit from. So just me being in the beauty industry over 23 years, I know a few things, and maybe we can touch on the topics of, you know, what they can actually get from these memberships. But contract review. So if you guys are listening and you're like, I got hired on somewhere, or I picked up a new product line, or I have a new opportunity, what have you, they will review your contracts. So whether it be a lease, it doesn't matter what kind of contract it is, you have a certain amount of contract reviews per membership. And we'll talk about the memberships in a minute here.
Sure.
or even contract writing, right? Like there's contract, people want to write their own contracts. So let's say you go into a lease term or a business opportunity with another person. That's a good opportunity to have a contract written for you. Questions, that's another one that I think comes up quite often with the beauty professionals is, I just have a question. I don't even
Right.
know if it's a valid question, but I have a question, right?
Yes.
And no question is stupid in the legal market. So like, you
Right.
know,
Right. Well, what I would like to say about that is traditionally, you are correct in that the traditional model of legal services is an hourly rate on average $300 to $400 an hour. And so the system isn't designed for everyday citizens or small business owners on a small business budget to pick up the phone and call an attorney. It's just not cost effective. It doesn't make any sense. And so Legal Shield for 50 plus years has changed the model. We have a crowdfunding model. So we have, 4.5 million people paying a small fee, as well as small business owners paying a small fee to get the buying power of a large company. And so that's how we can keep our costs very low. Yet we have our average tenure of our attorneys is 22 plus years. We have a nationwide network of law firms. They're AV rated. They're powerful. We're approved by attorney generals across America, endorsed by them. We've won awards by Forbes and other professional establishments that we are making a huge difference across businesses and families right now to change the way you approach legal matters.
right.
So going to your point is, if you just aren't sure, if you have the question of, I'm not sure, doesn't seem right, doesn't seem fair, that's when we want you to call. We want you to be proactive and defensive as opposed to reacting to law, which is what we've been left to across for some time with the traditional model.
Yep. And I want to go back to what you touched on, because I have a lot of people that listen to this podcast that are not just in Minnesota, because we're both in Minnesota. If you guys are listening, you're like, oh, that's where those accents are from. But you guys are nationwide, right? So that's really exciting, because pretty much wherever you're listening from in the United States, you probably can get coverage from this, I'm guessing.
Yes, that's correct. We provide coverage in every state. Some states have some slightly different plans, but overall we're across Canada and all of North America.
Okay.
So it's a nationwide, probably our largest network of law firms across America.
Wow. And that's really good, you guys. So really, if you're listening in the United States and from what I understand, Canada, you can jump on and check this out. Now, if you're in Minnesota or surrounding, it sounds like surrounding states too, depends on what you're, doing. But business-wise, if you're in Minnesota, we will be leaving Pam's website in the show notes, so you can directly contact her and ask her anything that you want to ask, because she has all the information. But let's talk a little bit about, I know that you said the pricing changes based on states sometimes, but in Minnesota, I saw that we have 3 different plans that are offered for business. And obviously we're just going to talk on business plans right now, you guys, because, that's what we're doing today. We're a business podcast, but just know that they have personal plans as well. So if you guys are interested in, getting your healthcare directive, power of attorney, will, personal matters, whether it be, criminal, whatever, they have personal plans for that as well. But we're just touching base today about the business plans because, we're really here for that. But there is 3 different plans from what I saw, and they really start from $49 all the way up to $169. So that is really good. I mean, if you think about $49 a month to get, I think for me, one of the biggest things that I always get attracted to is just the reassurance that I can call somebody, right?
Yes. It's an incredible peace of mind. We always say, what keeps you up at night?
Right.
What are you stressing about in your business? In our most expensive legal plan, if you go into cost, is about $1.07 an hour. So if you have employees, if you consider us as one of your most valuable employees that you can call on anytime with an unlimited number of matters, asking questions, and again, proactively navigating your business.
Yeah. And I think that it gives me peace of mind to know that, like, if I don't know something, or if I'm curious about something, I have somebody to run to. I have somebody to ask. I have somebody to, get validation possibly, or I have somebody even to press on that matter, right? The one thing I really like about you guys too is you have an app. So you can just open your app and schedule an appointment with the attorney or do a bunch of things on the app. So I think that's kind of cool too, because, if you're on the go, if you're on the run, if you got a busy life, you're constantly in your car, constantly at work, whatever, that app really helps a lot because we're not all the time going to be in front of a computer or an iPad or a tablet or something like that. So I really thought the app was helpful, especially when it comes to scheduling a call with the attorney. It
Right.
schedules it for you, and then the attorney calls you back.
Yes. So we've grown, we started out with little cards and
Mm-hmm.
you called the law firm. And
Yep.
what the app has allowed are for busy individuals, busy professionals to actually schedule a callback time so that
Yep.
they can prepare to discuss their matter. So that has really been helpful in terms of our satisfied members addressing an issue of playing tag with our attorneys.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, because we're all busy and life gets in the way. So I want to tell you guys a little story. I actually dipped out of the beauty industry for a little bit. I moved back from California. I'm going to get a little personal here. I moved back from California and didn't have a job, didn't have anything situated in the beauty industry here, kind of starting my life over, right? And my friend actually was working for the law firm that handles, at that time, it was prepaid legal. That's the name of it. Now it's called Legal Shield. And she worked there and she said, "Hey, we're looking, we have a position open. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Yeah, let me interview. Point me in the right direction." I ended up getting the job and ended up working there. And so I know personally there is a law firm here in downtown Minneapolis where attorneys work, and that's where they are. And the people that I worked with at the time, they're great. They're very knowledgeable, very personable. They are great, and so if you're kind of wondering, am I going to be sent to some office in some place that I don't know and they're not going to know anything? No, these are attorneys that work, live, breathe in the areas that you are. And I think that was really reassuring for me too. Obviously, I have a little bit of a background experience because of that, but
Mhm.
if you're kind of wondering, where these attorneys are, they're going to be close to probably the areas that you are in.
Right. And I would add, Heidi, that one of, I think is a really important um, point about Legal Shield is we do not have contracts. And so as a business owner, you just enroll in our service, you pay month to month. I like to say we earn our business month to month. We don't have co-pays, there's no enrollment fees, no cancellation fees. And so if you're not satisfied, if we're not delivering what we've promised, you can walk away. And to me, when I was first introduced to Legal Shield, I said, where in the world does that happen? Right? And it's also different. Another misunderstanding is that I don't have any legal issues, right? Or I'm waiting until something gets hot and on fire, and then I'll call an attorney. We are changing the way people look at a legal issue. And then going back to saying, I'm wondering, I'm not sure, I don't know about this. The laws are changing. I said, and we just turned the calendar to 2025. There are new laws. And so to keep up on all of the changes as a business owner, whether they're local laws, state laws, compliance issues, employment issues are changing
Yep.
constantly. 1099,
Yep.
to be able to pick up the phone. And I think we're like your favorite employee, right?
Yeah.
We won't get you a bill. The other thing is people think, well, when I call, I'm going to get hit with a bill. That is not true. It is just the fee that you're going to pay each month.
Yep.
Unless you decide to do some other kinds of things, there can be, but it's a choice you make.
And it's very clearly stated. So if you end up hiring an attorney that's not in their network, so I don't know if this is true still, but when I worked there, they had a list of referral attorneys. So if you had a matter that was like something that in-house we couldn't handle, we would refer you out to an attorney, but you would get a discount being part of a membership. You would get a discount on that referral attorney. So same thing with anything else, but that's clearly stated in every bracket of membership. So when you get a membership, I highly suggest look into each of the membership options, see what you're really thinking. Okay, maybe this is going to come up down the road. Maybe this is happening right now. For me, I'm thinking about copywriting things. And so I was interested, okay, I want to copyright 3 different names. How much is that going to cost me? What kind of membership should I get? So maybe be a little strategic sometimes, but like she said, if you're in a membership and it doesn't end up working out for you and you need a different one, you can always change, right? So you can
Yes.
always
Yes.
upgrade,
As you grow in your business, you can
Yeah.
grow in your plan. So we've customized them. So depending on where you're at, what you're trying to accomplish, what legal things that you might be dealing with, you can select a plan that best fits your business.
Yeah.
And then
But
you can pivot.
But the one thing that comes with every plan, so it doesn't matter if you have the $49 plan or the $169 plan, we're just speaking about these plans, your plans might be different. Like there's obviously going to be a certain amount of contract reviews, contract writing, questions are always available. So I saw that in every membership, that's something that's covered. So you can ask your attorney questions every day.
Yes. Or a couple times a day, different matters, but
Yeah, yeah,
unlimited. Yes. Yes,
yes.
absolutely. And
So
consultation.
yeah, so there's a different, so there's things across the board that are offered with every membership that you definitely will utilize. These people have thought about these things too. They've done a lot of market research over the years, to know how their members are using their memberships. They're listening to their members saying, okay, members have talked about this a lot. Like maybe we should change this. I'm guessing that's why you guys started the app, right? Like members were
Yes.
probably like, hey, requesting it. And so Legal Shield was like, all right, let's, look into this. So they are a company that also listens to their members. And I think that's really comforting too, of knowing like, hey, I have a membership, with a company that actually cares
Yes.
about me
Yes.
as a person, but me as a member as well. Um,
Right.
and so something that, kind of gives you peace of mind. You had mentioned earlier about personal identity too. So does personal identity protection come with the business plan, or is that only coming with the personal plan?
That comes with the personal plan.
Okay.
Before I dive into that, Heidi, can
Yeah.
I just back up 1 second? I just want to say
Yeah.
we are very responsive to our members and our small
Yes.
business owners. And one of the things that the feedback we get is, one, for a small business owner, they know who to call now when they have a legal matter. And we're responsive. We guarantee a call back within 8 business hours. And so you develop a relationship with a law firm. If you're just an individual calling a law firm, you're small. And so the response time in the traditional market is not very responsive. And so our members really appreciate the fact that they know who to call and that they're going to get a call back. And that our response time, we have what do we call it? A member bill of rights that we honor. And we're always getting feedback and reviews to say, how can we meet the needs of our members better and better.
Yeah. Which, we all know we do this in the beauty industry, right? We want to get feedback from our members, feedback from our clients, however you operate your business. We want to get feedback from them to know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong and how can we improve. And so I like that this company cares about that too. But like she was saying, like you are, having this membership is you get a little bit different treatment than maybe if you would just cold call a bunch of attorneys and realize that the retainer fee is more than you're paying, more than you'd want to pay. And that's just a retainer fee, people. So I don't know if you've gone through legal matters, if you're listening, but generally speaking, how it works is you retain an attorney. And then after that point, they tell you how much that actual work is going to cost. And that's what she was bringing up earlier, with some of them can range from $300 to $500 an hour just to do something, but that's on top of your retainer fee. So it can be very costly, to hire an attorney.
And I would,
for the average person.
Right. And I would add that our attorneys, because of our model, they're not worrying about billing you. So the whole client attorney experience is different. It's unique in that our attorneys are there to listen to you and to hear you share the issue, and they're there to respond to it. They're not worrying about billing you. They're not going to send a bill. So they'll spend an hour with you, a half hour, 20 minutes. So you can feel peace of mind that your issue, you're being heard, and that they're addressing and helping you understand your rights regarding the particular issue you're calling about. So.
Yeah. And the other thing I would like the listener to know is, so let's say you're listening, you're like, yes, I definitely need something for my business for sure. Okay. So I need something for my business, but I do have personal matters. They have joint memberships. So you get like, maybe I'm guessing you get a little plan, like a kind of a workup plan. So like, obviously you're not buying just 2 memberships. You maybe would get a discount or some kind of membership that is merged together as like a personal and a business. Cause I know you had mentioned that with me too, of like, I can tail on a business membership alongside a personal. So I think that's kind of
Yeah.
cool too.
With the 3 that you talk about, that would not be true. If you'd want personal coverage, we have a good, better, best model out there. So again, as an individual and a family, you could decide which of those plans make the most sense for your family. But we do have a business rider. If you're just getting started, you don't have employees, you have no out-of-state matters, it's $29.95. It's like a $30 a month plan that you could add to any one of our good, better, best personal plans. And that's oftentimes, if you're getting started, that's a place to start. And then you could move to one of our other plans. But it also depends on services. If you have interstate legal matters you're dealing with, you have to start with our $49 and above plan. But let's not forget though, at $200 an hour, or $180 for our most extensive and comprehensive business plan, that's about a half hour with a business attorney. And that's what you're going to pay a month for a lot of services for your business.
Yeah. So basically, people, if you're listening, if you've gotten this far in the podcast, this is a great deal. This is, amazing opportunity. And that's why I wanted to have you on. And that's why I really wanted this episode to happen, because, I personally have benefited from Legal Shield. Obviously, I've worked for WFJ or Wagner, Faulkner and Judd. And so I do have a little bit of that background, but I just wanted to share because I also had a couple conversations with a couple beauty professionals recently about it, because I have some friends in the industry that are going through things that they shared with me. And I said, hey, you should check out this just check out this membership. Like, I've had it for a long time. Like, I have benefited from it. I think you could too. And so, me sharing it with other people, it really sparked that in my brain. I was like, I should do a podcast episode about this, because I do think that there's a lot of people out there that just don't know about it. And, it's all about how we share information, right? And so, us as beauty professionals, we share information with each other. We're part of Facebook groups. We're part of, groups in person. We network. We talk to a lot of people to get our clients. These are the things that we need to be sharing with each other, in order to share information that's really necessary and needed. And don't keep it to yourself, because, you never know if somebody else will benefit from it. And I think that's, huge, because we all, like you said, there's going to be a time and a place that you need a contract review, or you want a contract, or you have questions. And what better place to ask than, I have an attorney for that. Yeah.
Right. Well, and I would add to that, we say in the industry that we are all using attorneys. It's just not yours if you're signing the contract. And so Legal Shield is kind of disrupting the entire industry to say, now we every citizen, every small business owner, we're a game changer, but we have to change your mindset that anytime you're just wondering about something, we're a super resource and affordable to change. You'll do better when you know more. And so we're just changing it and helping small businesses succeed, because it's the contract you don't have reviewed that can bury your business,
Right.
or the clause that's not in the contract that, we all try to play attorney, we all have in time, as I have.
Google.
Right. But it might omit something that's really important. And so
Yes.
to have customized legal advice for your personal or your business questions is invaluable. So.
Yeah. And it could be just something like you're clarifying something, or even a lot of people have websites nowadays. A lot of websites, we need policies and terms and things like that on your website. So it could be something that you're not even thinking about. So kind of think about how you operate your business nowadays, and think about all the loopholes that maybe you're not thinking about, right? Because that's also what an attorney's job is to think about how you can protect yourself further. Think about how you can, present yourself in safe situations, right? So I think that is always something to think about. But, building that relationship with attorneys and, asking the questions, because obviously you'll have a file and they'll keep everything you've, talked about on file and so forth. So It's a really good system. Do you have anything else that you know that the listener would want to know about Legal Shield? Obviously, we're going to put your website in there. So if anybody does
Sure.
have any questions after listening today, they're going to shoot on over to you. But do you have anything that you're like, you know what? I think beauty professionals need to know this about Legal Shield?
I would say a couple things. I guess, first of all, I would say wherever you are in the country, feel free to reach out to me because I can do business across the country or direct you to a resource that can. If it's a particular state that is nuanced, I'm happy to help you out. I guess the other thing I would say is that by being proactive in your business, you can more confidently run your business, and that will benefit your employees, your business, your clients, and you'll have peace of
Yep.
mind. And you can focus. We say you could take your legal hat off and then focus on what you're passionate about and your,
Yeah.
super skills within your profession. And
Yeah.
then lastly, I would just talk quickly about identity theft. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
The reality is it's a big problem across America. And I would simply say we offer a product along with our legal plan. It's a separate plan, but we protect your rights, right? But identity theft is one of those things that you are guilty until proven innocent, unlike many other things. And so it makes sense to put it with a legal plan, because if someone's using your information, you have to prove that it's not you. And so it made sense to put with our product. And it, offers a lot of device protection, monitoring, sweeps your data off of data broker, people search sites, protects your good name, your profession, your business in so many ways. So it's worth just taking a peek at. And there's a lot of misconceptions about it because it
I'm
isn't
sure.
just financial. It's
Yeah.
your whole digital. You have a
Everything.
whole digital
Footprint.
imprint.
Yeah.
Yes, and so it's important to protect as a professional.
Well, and I'm so, if people are building their brands, especially online, you think about identity protection when it comes to online too, of like, where is all your information going when you go to all these different websites, or if it has been taken, we all have gotten that email, unfortunately, that your email address was leaked on a whatever website. I've gotten them. I know everybody else has gotten them. So this is a good thing to think about. It sounds to me like you can add this to your membership, even if you have a business membership. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Okay. Absolutely. Yep.
It's easy to do that. So yes, let's protect our identities, people. But I hope you guys have gotten a lot from this episode. Like, it is such an easy thing to do. You can sign up really quickly. It gives you that peace of mind. You can call the attorney, get your contracts review. I just think it's a win-win all around. They don't have contracts. So if you decide 3 months later, you don't really use it and like it, or you need to save money, you can cancel and you can start it back up again, from what I'm understanding as well. So let's think about protecting ourselves. Let's think about, the things that do come up in everyday life and everyday business. And like she said earlier, you guys, think about having that peace of mind back there helps you just be more present with your clients, more present with your business, more present with what you're actually passionate about, instead of sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I have to Google this later because I need protection now. And, it's always
Yes.
No, let's not think like that. Let's not be reactive. Let's just be proactive with it. So that's also what I'm saying too.
Super, Heidi. I'm so impressed with the work that you do, because you are
Thank you.
obviously sharing resources that will help all those that do what you do or around you. So
Yeah.
we're a mighty force and we're doing a great good across America. Our mission is solid. So I appreciate it.
I love that. Well, thank you guys for listening today. And thank you, Pam, for being on today.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
I hope you liked that episode and found something useful or tip that you can use immediately. Don't forget to download my free marketing checklist, which is in the show notes. And my episodes come out weekly, so I'll see you in the next episode.